Shalom and welcome to the King James Bible University and the house of the lost sheep of Israel. Here is our public service announcement. King James Bible University and the house of the lost sheep of Israel are in no way, shape, form, or fashion affiliated with any of the 45,000 different denominations of Christianity, or any type of Black Hebrew Israelite camps, or any of the religious systems of this world. We do not fellowship with them, compare or share notes with them, or anything of that sort. King James Bible University and the house of the lost sheep of Israel stands alone, teaching out of the sovereign King James Bible with the Apocrypha. Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there's a little.
All right, and shalom, 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 everybody. Welcome to the King James Bible University, Kansas City. And today's teaching is titled Entitled People. I'll be the teacher for this time today, Deacon Kahleial. It's a topic that is pretty crazy because entitled people are people that move around with a certain type of mindset. Entitled people are people that have a belief and mindset that they are inherently deserving of special treatment, as if people are supposed to treat them a certain way by default, even though they've done nothing to earn that. They think they deserve special treatment, privileges, or even rewards. They've done nothing to earn it. See, very often we can find ourselves being in a position to believing we deserve to be treated a certain way, above others, better than others, or receiving things without having anything behind that. We know we seek to receive things, we did nothing to actually earn that thing. And we believe people should be a certain way towards us based on our own personal beliefs. And it is based on who we think we are and what we believe we do. And we think we deserve things from others based on our own understanding. But this way of thinking is a stumbling block. And it shows that we have an issue of pride and a bad understanding. Entitled people are those that believe they deserve special treatment, all based on who they are or what they say they've done. This could be a person who has done nothing and works for nothing, and they can still feel entitled to a person, a thing, or a position. And these are things that we have to look at because entitlement issues are issues that run rampant, especially in our people, believing that just because they see themselves a certain way, you should see them a certain way, and you should give them the things that they want based on how they think, based on how they see things. That all of a sudden that this means now you need to be treating them a certain way and doing certain things for them, or they feel entitled for you to do things towards others too, based on their opinions, based on their thoughts. So this is something that is not cool at all. Let me see something. And we're going to start this teaching right here. Let me get this pulled up. All right. We're going to start with these two verses.
Shalom and welcome.
Proverbs 30:13 and Sirach 3:24, which reads, "There is a generation How lofty are their eyes. So how proud, how haughty are their understandings. And their eyelids are lifted up. For many are deceived by their own vain opinion, and an evil suspicion have overthrown their judgment. So we see these two verses side by side. It's showing a state of a generation. It's showing this pride, this haughtiness, being proud. Their understandings are like this. The way that they understand things, the way that they see things, is proud, it's haughty, believing that things of themselves are all that in the bag of chips. Their eyelids are lifted up. Let's look at this. Let's look at this real quick. It's eyelids. This is cover. This is veil. This is guard. This is shade. So their eyelids, their cover is lifted up. So they want to sit there and be concealed with this cover. This cover is going to be concealing something. This cover is going to be guarding something, right? And they're lofty. We see this haughty, proud, high, proud, arrogant. We see that. So this is their understandings, and their eyelids are lifted up. So they taking cover. They lifting this up. Taking cover behind what? We're going to see this later on in the teaching, because the same thing is we take cover behind these understandings to mask something about ourselves inwardly. We like to have these high and lifted up understandings, but really it's all falsehood. It's all lies. There's no reason why we should lift up ourselves, because we lift up ourselves based on things that make absolutely no sense. So entitled people have lifted up understandings. They have these proud understandings because they believe they deserve something, and they feel like that they need these special privileges based on absolutely nothing. We're deceived by our own vain opinion. Our own vain opinion, our own vain thoughts being the thing that messes us up. Our own vain thoughts being the very thing that are steering us in these wrong directions. And we hold to these things. We hold to these beliefs. We hold to these things that actually are causing us to go in the wrong direction. And an evil suspicion have overthrown their judgment. We're sitting here having these evil suspicions, believing that, oh, you must feel this way about me because you're not doing this. You must feel that way about me because you're not doing this. When it's still based on something that we came up with, that we shouldn't even be holding to ourselves. So these are the things that we have to sit there and really understand. So now we're going to look at an example of those that have entitlement, dealing with material things. And we're going to start here in Matthew 20. And we're going to look at 1 through 15. Which reads, "For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is a householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers into his vineyard. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them into his vineyard. And he went out about the third hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace, they out there doing nothing. And he said unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right I will give you. And they went their way." Again, he went out about the sixth and ninth hour and did likewise. And about the 11th hour, he went out and found others standing idle, and said unto them, Why ye stand here all the day idle? They say unto him, Because no man hath hired us. He saith unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatever is right, that ye shall receive. So everybody getting put to work. So when even so when even was come, the Lord of the vineyard saith unto his steward, Call the laborers, and give them their hire, beginning from the last until the first. We see this. We see all this going on. And when they came, that were hired about the 11th hour, they received every man a penny. So when the first came, they supposed. We don't look at just that word suppose. Let's see. Right here. Their opinion is what they believe. So they believed. So it was their opinion that they had was what? They believed that they should have received more. This is what they belief is. This was their opinion. This is their own vain opinion. And they likewise received every man a penny. See, the agreement in verse 2 was he agreed with the laborers for a penny a day. He agreed with all these laborers the same way. Then you go down here. They believe they should have received more. So where did this belief come from? This belief came from their own understanding, their own minds. Why? They got to be lifted up. They want to sit there and form their own things and take cover behind that. They want to sit there and formulate these things based on how they see themselves and based on their own mindset. Because when we look at what did they do when they didn't receive more? And when they had received it, they murmured against the good man of the house, even though they made this agreement for a single penny. They felt entitled to more money. They felt entitled to these special privileges. So they felt entitled that the agreement should bend for them. They felt entitled that the agreement should change for them based on the work that they believed that they did, which would have been 100% unfair because it went against the agreement that was already set. So we seeing this. They murmured against the good man of the house, saying, what? These last have brought but 1 hour, and thou hast made them equal unto us, which have borne the burden and heat of the day. Man, look at what I did, man. Look at everything that I got into. How come you giving them more money? How come we ain't getting more money than them? How come we ain't getting paid more than them? We put in all this work. And they sitting there completely throwing out the agreement. They feel entitled to this man's money. They feel as if they should get paid more. And this is 100% wrong. This is 100% wrong. He says, right here, the good man is saying, but he answered one of them and said, friend, I do thee no wrong. Didst not thou agree with me for a penny? Take that thine is and go thy way. I will give unto this last even as unto thee. Is it not lawful for me to do what I will with mine own? Is thine understanding evil because I am good? We see that. So in verse 2, we saw the agreement that was made. It was for a penny a day. And this was set. And we don't ever see where this agreement changed at all. Entitlement kicked in at verse 10 through 12. They believe based on what they've done that they deserve more than what was agreed upon. And this shows that they desired to be above the men who worked an hour. We see the reasoning they used is that they have borne the heat and the burden of that day. But the others only worked an hour. They compared themselves to the other workers, and we can see this envy is there. Them wanting to be more than the others. Them wanting more than the others. They supposed this. So this was their belief in what they had going on. This is something that we do a lot. When one is entitled, they make everything about self, and they can try to measure themselves against others or even by their own standard. So we here should be in one agreement with JEHOVAH, all seeking the same thing. But do we feel some type of way when a brother or sister receives something that we don't, or even the same as us? If the focus is simply on the agreement we've made, then anything that's going on with others shouldn't be our concern. But if we want to be entitled, now we're going to believe we should receive all the benefits and accolades and privileges based on the work we think we're doing. We're going to be covetous people. We're going to have this covetous understanding. Remember, we looking at this mindset of one who is what? Is this entitled person. So Rock 14:9, a covetous man's understanding is not satisfied with his portion. We see this right here. We're going to stop right here at A. A covetous man's understanding is not satisfied with his portion. Whatever it is that he received, whatever it is that he's getting, whatever it is that he has earned, he is not going to be satisfied with his portion. That won't satisfy him. He can't be content with the things that he has. He has to have more of it. He's going to sit there and be greedy. He's going to sit there and want to take things and 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 take things. He just can't take what it is that belongs to him. He needs to have more of it. He can't be satisfied by that. Let's look at Proverbs 21 and 26. He coveteth greedily all the day long. He coveteth greedily all the day long. I want this, I want that, I need this, I need that. You need to give me this. Nah, you supposed to give me this. You need to be giving me this. Man, why ain't you dude, don't you know who I am? Don't you know what I've done? You need to give me this. Don't you know what it is? Don't you know what this is about? Man, give me, man, look at what I did compared to him. Give me what it is that I need. I didn't put in all this work. Give me this right now. If you don't give me this, it's gonna be a problem. You're supposed to give me this. This is what you're supposed to be doing. He coveted greedily all the day long. We see this in Proverbs 21:26. Hey, why? One who is entitled is going to move around as if they're owed something when they're not. The covetous man's eye is not satisfied with his portion. So he already has something that belongs to him, but he's not content with what he has. He always is going to want more. So he wants to receive, receive, receive. But in this part, in section B, but the righteous give it and spare it not. They're not going to be greedy. They're going to be willing to share because they don't feel entitled to anything. They're not going to take it upon themselves to take things just to be taking them because they don't have a mindset that anyone owes them anything. Let's look at let's look at Proverbs 3 and 27. We're going to look at an example of entitlement, even in this body. It says, withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is in the power of thine hand to do it. Okay, now we're going to look at this example. Starting with this example here, money. People think they deserve special access to other people's money. They feel entitled to take advantage of other people's money. They have a mindset that a person should be paying for something based on who they are or what they believe rather than being a genuine kindness of the heart. See, an example being a renowned man can invite people he's cool with out to eat, but people who are uninvited can decide to tag along. It can allow them to come if he feels like it because of the kindness of his heart. When everyone sits down to eat, the uninvited people, however, decide to order extra food and to buy things unnecessarily, and they eat until they're full. Then, when it's all finished, they expect the renowned man to pay for all the food. They take it upon themselves to ensure he receives the bill. This is what entitled people choose to do. This is how they move. And this is the same thing that happened at the last feast that we had. We went out to eat with Pastor Michael, and a whole bunch of people came that wasn't invited. Now, I was one of the people who came. I don't even remember being invited, me or my wife, because we getting married. So, we having that wedding, so I had my wife. So the same thing is, I was gonna pay for what I was gonna pay for. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I just wanted to hang out. If I caught some nuggets, I was gonna catch some nuggets. But the same thing is, what? I was fully willing to pay for me and Raylan's food. I was gonna do it. I had no problem with it because I knew that I was coming somewhere where I didn't make sure that everything was a certain type of way. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going out there to eat. I'm gonna eat with them, but I'm gonna take my own stuff. But people at the table ordering more food than what it was that made any sense. Everybody didn't receive their own portion. People was wanting to buy more than what was necessary. And since they was doing that, the bill kept going higher and higher. But what does an entitled person do? They gonna make sure that this man over here, who they know has money, oh yeah, he got it, he'll pay for it. Because they feel entitled to his money. They don't know if this man got any financial buying. They don't know if this man got any type of burden he got to take care of, they don't know what's going on. But an entitled person is going to automatically believe that, oh, yeah, since we're out with him, he's going to take care of it, even though they were not invited. That is not what's supposed to be happening. So the same thing is withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is in the power of thine hand to do it. The good would have been the desire and intent to pay for their own food, so as not to burden others. But entitled people have the belief that because he's the pastor, he should be paying for it. Oh yeah, we all out with him. He invited these people. Oh yeah, he got it. He'll take care of it. No, we should always be willing to take care of our own portion in our own half of things. However, if the other person chooses to do that, that's a choice that they're choosing to do. But never assume in your own head somebody's going to take care of something like that, because you don't know what they're going through in that moment. One moment they might have the ability to do it and they feel generous, and from the kindness of their heart, they'll do it. But in another section, in another time, they might not be able to do that same thing. So you should never expect people to do things like that for you, because that's not right. We should always be willing to take care of our own stuff. But guess what? We want this and we want that. We gonna be covetous at the table. We gonna take more than what it is that we supposed to be getting a hold to. Now we gonna put a burden on somebody else because we feel like they should take care of it anyways. We even do the same thing at feast days in general. People will sit there and believe that they are entitled to be there, even though they won't pay anything, even though they don't want to make sure that they're actually taking care of their due diligence and responsibility. They still feel entitled to everybody else's money, while everybody else is gonna pitch in to make sure that they get what they need to get. Everybody else is gonna pitch in to make sure that food is gonna be there. Everybody else is gonna pitch in and do this, but they feel like they're entitled to the money of the body. Can we understand how crazy that actually is? Everybody else is paying a portion. You got people who gonna come in and say they gonna pay back and they don't pay back. Why? Because they believe that they shouldn't have to do it anyways. They believe that their presence there, they deserve to be there. What sense does that make? Because that's the entitlement mindset. See, so everybody should know what that mindset looks like and how it moves around. Like your poop don't stink, as if you're owed something, as if you deserve this special treatment and privilege, and you're not gonna do nothing to put forward for it. That's why the fruits of charity is set up the way it is. I have no involvement with the fruits of charity, but you hear how it's set up. You got to be pitching in and handling your stuff. Why? Ain't no entitled person gonna be getting a hold of that. Ain't no entitled person gonna be getting a hold of that. Why? You gotta put in your portion to make things go around, to make sure that people was able to have what they need. So an entitled person can never get in on that because of how they got it set up on our system. But these are the issues. When people feel they're entitled to people's money, they're not going to be satisfied with their portion, and they're going to covet greedily all the day long. They're going to be greedy. They just want, they just want, they just want, they just want. They're not going to give. And then the worst part is they'll say they're going to give and they ain't going to do it. They're going to lie about it. Oh yeah, I'll pay you back. Now they're going to avoid the person who they supposed to be paying back because they entitled. They got this prideful mindset, which is lifted up understandings. Oh yeah, he should be doing that. That's arrogant. How's it arrogant? Somebody who's in this position that's above you, you're gonna sit there and treat them this way and act like you better than them. Insanity. Completely crazy. But see, we do this on the opposite side of the spectrum too. When we're doing well, we feel entitled to praise. When we're doing well, we feel entitled to people giving us congratulations, giving us these praises, giving us this attention that we seek so bad. So the second point is going to be entitlement to praises. We're going to go to Luke 15:25 through 32. I lied. No, I didn't. It's Luke, it's Luke chapter, I don't know, my brain. It was Luke chapter 15, verse 25 through 32. I'm sitting here thinking it's verse 15 through 32, even though I said it the other way. Y'all bear with me on that one. I don't know. It's early in the morning. I don't know how I seen that like that. I mean, it's chapter 15, not verse 15. So Luke chapter 15, verse 25 through 32. All right. Now, when you look at the story of the prodigal son, we can see entitlement came in another way. When the son who lived riotously came back, his return and coming back to his senses was celebrated. But the older brother was angry at this celebration. Now, his elder son was in the field. And as he came and drew nigh to the house, he heard music and dancing. And he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And he said unto him, thy brother is come, and thy father hath killed the fatted calf, because he hath received him safe and sound. And he was angry, and would not go in. Therefore came his father out and entreated him. Come outside. I mean, what's going on here, Bobo? I don't know what the boy name was. And he answering it said to his father, and he answering said to his father, lo, these many years do I serve thee, neither transgressed I at any time not commandment. And yet thou never gavest me a kid that I might make merry with my friends. But as soon as this thy son was come, which have devoured thy living with harlots, thou hast killed for him the fatted calf. And he said unto him, son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. It was meet that we should make merry and be glad. For this thy brother was dead, and is alive again, and was lost, and is found. So the same thing is, when we're doing well, those things that we have, we should be grateful that we're in that state that we're in, that we have these things that we need, that we're able to have things be taken care of, that work is being done, that everything is moving the way that it's moving. See, especially if we're doing well in the body, we should be grateful that we're in this position to put in work, to take care of the business that we need to take care of. We often all overlook the benefits that we actually have being here. See, we always like to look at negative things. We always like to look at things that seem to be going wrong. We always like to look at things that seem to be difficult and tough for us. We always like to look at all these negative things, but we don't like to actually appreciate where we're at. But the moment something good happens for somebody else, we gonna have a problem. See, this is actually a super dangerous thing that we need to see with what he actually said. This older son, because we have a huge issue. Now I'm speaking on myself on something that I did, because the issue is that this can be mistaken. Look at this. When you listen carefully to what's being said, even with the penny a day, this is something that we can label it as something else. He said, lo, these many years do I serve thee, neither transgressed I at any time thy commandment. Yet thou never gavest me a kid, that I may make merry with my friends. But as soon as this thy son was come, which have devoured thy living with harlots, thou hast killed for him the fatted calf. Now he feels entitled to something because of what he has done. But the most dangerous part is that we could feel that what he's saying is justifiable in some type of way. When I was going through things that I was going through, I read this. I had to put myself in his position. And I had to really look at what was he talking about. Same thing with the men who had the penny. When you read those two places, these are places where somebody could try to justify those men's behavior by saying what though? Oh, they just felt unappreciated. Oh, they felt overlooked. See, because when you look at it, it can appear that way. It can appear as if, oh yeah, well, all the things they did do more. Oh, they just felt like they wasn't appreciated. They felt overlooked. They felt all these things. Wow, I felt like that at one point. I felt unappreciated. I felt overlooked. I felt okay if I'm doing all this. Well, how come? Why is it that I'm not being celebrated and thanked and how come I don't feel appreciated for what it is that I'm doing? But the moment somebody else does this or something else happens with somebody else, they get all this. I've been saying you can mistakenly have the mindset that you aren't being appreciated, that you aren't being thanked for anything. So then now you feel entitled to that. You feel as if now you deserve those type of privileges. You deserve this type of treatment. You deserve this type of uh, um, reception from others. But that's dangerous because now you could justify behaviors and label it as something else. But the thing about it is, anytime these things happen, we have to consider, and this is with anything, we have to consider why things make us feel the way they make us feel. Our heart is the, let's go there. In Jeremiah 17:9, it reads, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? So our heart is this right here. So we can convince ourselves that the way we feel or behave is based on one thing, but it's actually another thing. Okay, the same thing is a person can sit here and say that the men who was out there working in the heat felt unappreciated for all the hard work that they did. But when you stop and you really think about it, why? They agreed for a penny a day. That was the agreement. So what is it that was really going on? See, you could say, oh, they felt unappreciated. That's not what it was. They felt like they deserved more than other people, even though they all agreed on the same thing. It was selfishness that was there. See, don't agree to a job or to do work, knowing the contract, and then all of a sudden feel entitled to more than what it is based on the work that you did. If you knew what you was getting yourself into ahead of time, you shouldn't feel no type of way when certain things go that way because that was the agreement. It's going to be hold to that. It's going to be kept to that. So it's not that people don't feel appreciated. No, it's that they felt like they had some leverage to be above something. No different than this son right here, this elder son. He people could say he felt unappreciated. He felt overlooked. He didn't feel that what he was doing was being seen and all that stuff. But this is exactly the problem. It's not that he felt unappreciated, it's that he felt like he deserved to be praised for what he was doing. He felt superior to the younger son because of the things he was doing. So no different than the penny a day. But those men were supposed to just be working based on the agreement. So that means they were supposed to be concerned and focused on the work, not about other people. But the moment we compare ourselves to other people and we start measuring ourselves against other people, it shows that we're operating 100% in a carnal mind. And that now we're going to be judgmental towards others. And then we're going to compare them to us. And now we're going to put ourselves above them. It goes right back to the starting verse that what we had at the beginning of the teaching about this generation, about what we do as people, about how we understand things as people. See, we sit there and have this entitled mindset. That mindset is 100% wicked. There is a generation. How lofty are their understandings? Lifted up, high, arrogant, proud, and their eyelids are lifted up. We want to sit there and have this type of perception of ourselves that we deserve things from other people, that people should be treating us a certain type of way, that people need to be moving around us a certain type of way, solely based on who we think we are. And that's the stupidest thing ever. Because if we make an agreement, it's just supposed to be based on the agreement. If we're doing the work, why the hell do you need somebody to thank you for doing what you're supposed to be doing? But we don't ask ourselves these things. We say we don't feel appreciated, but we really want praises from others. We say we feel overlooked, but we lust for the attention from people, from men, from males and from females. We want people to look at us and what we doing. And the moment somebody else get that attention, we got the attitude. We get the problem. We get the issue. because it shows what our intent and motivation behind it really was from the beginning. It wasn't to do what we were supposed to do because it's the right thing to do, because it's the good thing to do, because we want to help, because we want to do what we have to do. Oh, we ain't trying to sit there and hold to no agreement. We believe we can get more out of the thing that we signed up for. We believe that we're entitled to more based on what we believe that we're doing. See, we think that we can receive special treatment and benefits because we believe ourselves to be above others anyways. Because we're entitled. We got entitlement issues. This is what the problem is. This is what we be doing. But we like to label it as, oh, I just feel like people don't appreciate me for what I do. I feel worthless. I feel insignificant. I feel like people don't care about me. No, 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 no. You're labeling it as that. No, you want people to elevate you. You want people to praise you. You want people to give you attention. You want people to put you on this status that you think you deserve because you think you better than somebody. You think you is better than somebody. You honestly believe in your mind that you are better than somebody else because of what you do. And that still makes you a covetous person. Why? Because you want something that's above the portion that you got. Why am I saying that? Talking to myself. I did the same identical thing. I did the same identical thing to my brother, Elder James. Why? This man he puts in work. This man puts in work. But his desire and intent is to get right with the Most High. You can see it in how he moves. You can see it in how he talks. You can see that. You can see all these things. But at one point in time, my mindset, I felt entitled. Why? At one point, I was taking care of this over here. I was taking care of that over here. I was helping with this over here. I was helping with that over here. But then the moment this man, me and him was in the same office, the moment this man was promoted above me, boom, shakalaka. Here go this demon. Gonna come out of me. How is it? How? Whoa, wait a minute. I start acting a dang fool. Why? Because I felt like all the work I was doing, how did this man come after me and I'm not in that position? How? Why ain't it me? How? What? How ain't it me? All the work I've been doing all this time, all the labor I've been putting in, all the things that's been going on here. How ain't it me? That's how I thought. And I was labeling it as something else. Oh yes. Well, I was putting in work. I feel like I'm not appreciated. No. Because I wanted that reputation. See, I was told I was real strong. People would tell me a lot of things about myself. Oh, you're this, you're that. Oh, you're this way or that way. It'd be good stuff. See, whenever we sit there and we listen to feedback from others, we should be seeking to be better than who we was, so that we could be a better servant. But when we sit there with the mindset of this prodigal son, deep within, we're gonna have this idea that we're better than somebody else. And me, Elder James already talked, so I don't want nobody to sit there and try to be on some shady stuff. Collect. Yeah, shut up. I'm about to say, just for that mixed multitude, that shady person in the back. This is for somebody who might be dealing with the same mindset, who don't want to think like that no more. So I don't have no problem exposing my trash if it'll help somebody else. Why? Just a person. I ain't better than nobody. So if it helps somebody else through my experience, I don't know, and I don't know if I'm doing it, but We already cleared all this up a long time ago. I already told him all this stuff. This stuff is already known. But the point behind it is to anybody who might be here, we have to appreciate what JEHOVAH has done for us in the position that we're in. We can't be so focused on ourselves and what we think we deserve, what we think we need, because now we're being entitled. It's not about, oh, I've been working for this long, or I've been here this long, and it ain't about none of that stuff. It has nothing to do with that stuff. And the same verses that I'm showing, that Luke and the Matthew, are the same verses that when I was getting counsel from him during that time, he ran me to those verses. So I'm just showing what I learned from him today. So the same thing is, we have to avoid this mindset at all costs and recognize the purpose behind what we're doing. If we have an agreement on something, we hold to the agreement and we work. And that's the only expectation we should have, is what we agreed on. If we're doing the work, if somebody else is celebrated for something that they did, it ain't for us to be upset on nothing and start saying we feel unappreciated, we feel worthless, we feel this, we feel that. Because it's not that you feel unappreciated, it's because you feel entitled to praises. You feel as if you deserve to be in a position that this other person is, because you think it's all about you. It's the type of mindset I had, but people who do this, that's the type of mindset that is. It's an entitled mindset. And we're going to prove what's being said. When we doing well, we shouldn't need no thank you. We shouldn't need to be praised for doing what we're supposed to be doing. So this son here was doing what he's supposed to be doing. Remember what was said in verse 31. And he said unto him, Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Man, you already good. You already good. You got exactly what you need. Just keep going. So let's look, because we're gonna look at this issue. Because when people receive things, or if people have things, we should not feel entitled to it, because we be a covetous. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Whatever he get, we shouldn't be sitting there lusting after it, because that's all this is. That's lusting after it. Look at this. Just to show that when we be in covetous, we have these lusts. Look at this. Romans 7:7. What is this? We're going to look at section G down. It says, For I had not known lust, except the law has said, Thou shalt not covet. When we be in covetous, we have these lustful desires of physical things in this world. And it already tells us, we just gonna keep rolling real quick. We're gonna look at 1 John 2:15-17. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh. We coveting after the flesh. We coveting after the things our eyes see. We being covetous. We want more. We want, and we can't be satisfied. We being lustful. We lust for the things of this flesh. We lust for the things that our eyes can see. The lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the lust of these understandings. We want to understand things the way we want to understand it. Because we want to see ourselves a certain way. We want to see the things we do a certain way. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes. And the pride of life is not of the Father, but it is of the world. And the world passeth away in the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of God abideth forever. This is what we're supposed to be doing. Not coveting these things. Not coveting this stuff. What we lusting after it for? Why we lusting what our neighbor got? Why we lusting after his wife? Why we lusting after the things that he got? Why are we going to lust after the congratulations they receiving? Why are you gonna lust after that stuff? We should be concerned and focused on getting into this kingdom. Why are we gonna lust after something we see going on in this world? You lusting after what it looks like to be praised and receive attention? You like how that look, huh? Yeah, buddy, you like how that look, don't you? I sure did. I sure did. I thought people, boy, I had that mindset. People should be coming to me. People need to be talking to me. People need to be asking me questions. Don't nobody owe me nothing. Don't nobody owe me nothing. So that's just what it is. It's still covetousness, no matter what. Desiring praises from others, desiring people's money, being entitled. You just being a covetous person. And covetousness is a breeding ground for a lot of issues because now that you feel like you deserve what they got, now envy is there. Yeah. Them men in that wanted that penny, yeah, they envied them men that got the same penny. They was envious men. Oh wow. Look, boom. The envious man have a wicked eye, wicked understanding. He turneth away his face and despiseth men. He gonna speak evil against men. Wasn't they murmuring against the good men of the house? All right, then. Same thing with this. He gonna sit here. He gonna be angry. He gonna start comparing himself. He got a evil understanding. All this is about understanding. He got an evil understanding. You ain't gonna be happy that your brother's doing well. You're not gonna be happy that everybody got what they agreed on. No, you got to be the spotlight, right? We have to think about these things. Don't think I'm just talking down at people. Like I said, I did it. I'm included in this very thing. I'm just saying you and this and that because this is how I'm speaking about it. I'm not trying to throw rocks at anybody, really. So we have to consider all that, all these things. Because an entitled person has a mindset that they deserve things even though they legitimately, they just don't. So we have to look at that point of what? We don't need to thank you for doing well and doing what we're supposed to be doing. We don't deserve more than what it is that we're supposed to be getting. But when we look at Luke 17:7, you know what? Actually, no. Let's just look at 9 and 10. It says, doeth he thank that servant because he did the things that were commanded him? I trow not. Yeah, I trow not. Yeah, I hope not. I hope not. So likewise you, when ye shall have done all those things which are commanded you, say, we are unprofitable servants. We have done that which was our duty to do. The elder son, he did exactly what he was supposed to be doing. So he didn't need to receive the same thing that the younger son was receiving. He didn't need to be praised or pedestalized for doing what he was supposed to be doing. This right here in Luke 17:10 shows humility, recognizing that, hey, we ain't above anybody. All the stuff that we doing, We're supposed to be doing it just for the simple fact that that's what we're supposed to be doing. But then we still say we're unprofitable servants. We've done that, which was our duty to do. I did what I was supposed to. This is humility right here because we're not going to try to make ourselves something that we're not. We're not going to try to elevate ourselves based on the work that we're doing. We're not going to seek to have more than others based on what we believe that we do. We're not going to feel entitled behind nothing. So, like I said, see, I keep getting ahead of myself on this. But in my experience, I was in a place where I felt I was working very hard to do a lot of things and make things happen. This work was being done over a span of time where I had some authority given to me to make sure things happened. Yet when another was elevated above me, I had the issue. I felt crazy because in my mind, I believed that based on the work I was doing, that made me superior to others in my office. That's literally how I felt. Because I was told, oh yeah, I'm not even gonna get into everything I was told because that isn't even necessary. But I was told certain things but I took those things. See, same thing is when we're told things about ourselves, and it could be very positive things. It could be things about what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to be and all these things. And you could be given a lot of responsibility and you know a lot of things are coming up. It's not for you to elevate yourself based on that. It's to work in your purpose and then be grateful that you're serving the purpose that you're supposed to serve. Not use that as a catapult to put you above everybody else. That's what I was doing. Just because somebody could be considered strong, just because somebody could be considered a certain way that's positive, does not mean that you now take that and gas yourself up with it. And now you start moving around people like this or that. That is stupid. Don't do that. That's stupid. Because I sat there believing that based on what I was doing, I was superior to others in my office because one was elevated above me who came after I was already working. I sat there and judged that man. But the truth is, hey, we like that, and we was already like that. We was always like that. And we just thought our way was clean in our own eyes. It's facts. Proverbs 16:2. Hey, all the ways of a man are clean in his own understandings. Yep. Our issues and problems just don't come out of nowhere. They don't just spawn in. Man, why am I like this? It's been there. You just didn't look at it. You just didn't look at it. It isn't like these things are just appearing. These are things that we thought was clean, that we thought was good. We often overlook the deeper issues that we have because when you label it as something else, oh, I just don't feel appreciated. Now you done buried the issue, and now it's gonna continue to grow. They look clean to you. Oh, I just don't feel appreciated. I just want. Why the hell don't you feel appreciated? Oh well, I do this and I. Okay, why are you thinking like that though? Oh well, that's just how I am. That's just what. See, we love the label stuff. When we do that, we blind ourselves. Ah, we think it's clean. This is why we need Jehovah's guidance. This is why we need the word to shine the light on what's going on within us. Are we the entitled people? Nah, people gonna watch. Nah, that ain't me. And it's them. But today, it's at you. We gotta look at what's going on within ourselves. Jehovah is the one that weighs what's truly contained within us. But the Spirit of God weighs the spirits. He's gonna weigh what's in us. How are we moving? What spirit are we operating in? He already knows if we seeking him or not. So are we actually an entitled person but justifying our behaviors because we thought that this was a clean thing we were doing? It's something to think about. We can even look at entitlement issues when it comes to how we're treated. how people treat us. We expect certain treatment from others. We expect people to automatically, by default, move around us a certain way. We're gonna look at Matthew 18. We're gonna look at 15 through 17, which reads, "Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone." This is a huge issue, man. Boy, this is a huge issue right here. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of two or three witnesses every word may be established. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it to the church, the body. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publican. So the same thing is, when we read this, this is a due process. This is a process that one has to go through. But it's a process that can bring reconciliation when there's a trespass that has happened. See, when somebody does something against us, yeah, we bring it to that person. We let them know what we wasn't cool with. But if they don't, if they hear us out, and we let them know what it was that was an offense to us, and we weren't cool with it, all right, we gain our brother. They cool. They working with us. We moving forward. If they ain't gonna hear us, now we take one or two more. We have somebody that's a witness to it, that can see what's going on. That also is going to know what's right and what's wrong. That in the mouth of two or three witnesses, that every word may be established. So now we bringing it to somebody. But we see that. So, but it doesn't say that that brother has to respond one way or another. They're being allowed to go through this process here. So the same thing is, it says, and if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publican. So what we're supposed to do when we have issues with people is take it to that person, talk to that person personally if there's an issue that we're having with that person. If he hears us, then now it's getting our brother. But that's the funniest part about it. You have to take it to that person. It's between you and them. You take it to them first. It's only if they don't hear you that you get one or two more to handle this issue. If they don't hear you, then you get one or two more. And then if they ain't hearing this one or two more, this is something that could be, it says tell it unto the church. Now, I'm gonna have to talk about stuff about this later on. So, but in the focus of this teaching, nowhere are they forced to treat you how you want them to treat you. You can let somebody know that there's an issue, but this is so that reconciliation may happen. The thing about it is, even when these situations happen, we may feel entitled for someone to move and respond a certain way. But we have to remember we can't control nobody. You can't sit there and be like, you have to listen to me. Oh no, listen to what I'm telling you. You can't force nobody to sit there and move around you in certain ways. We're crazy. The thing is, even when these situations happen, this process of handling things, this gives the opportunity, this gives a couple opportunities for the offending person to reconcile. But they have also the choice not to do it if they don't want to. You don't see where they're forced to do it in this. So we can't expect people to do things that we want them to do because we feel entitled that they should treat us a certain way we want them to treat us. We just let people do what they do. But we see through this due process, at the very end, it says, let him be unto thee as compared to an heathen man and a publican. You just don't have to deal with them. if they're going to be doing things like that towards you. But that don't mean they have to treat you a certain way, because now we feel like we are entitled to them being with us a certain way. We feel like we're entitled to this person. No, I, I want you. You need to be like this. You need to do this. You need to be like this for me. And they don't. We can't control people. Who are we to sit there and expect treatment from people? People are going to show you who they are anyways. People are going to show you what they're all about anyways. So who are we to sit there in our minds and try to control another person's actions when they deserve to go through this process right here? And they'll show you what they're all about through this process. They do something, they trespass against you, they ain't trying to hear you, they gonna put it off, they gonna put it off. It shows they don't care to work nothing out. They showed you who they was. But we want to sit there, no, you have to be like this. Now we gonna try to fight with this person to make them reconcile. You're entitled to this person. You're entitled to the treatment that you want from them. Why? We believe deep down people we deserve to be treated this way or that way by people, and people don't need to treat us any type of way. They can do whatever they want us. They can do whatever they want to do. We just had the ability not to deal with it. But we want people to be around us a certain way, so we're gonna force them to behave a certain way. So we're gonna try to do things towards them. We're gonna try to make them treat us how we want them to treat us, which is stupid in itself. Because we don't have the ability to control nobody. They have the choice to reconcile. They have the choice not to reconcile. They're given a few opportunities to do it, but nowhere in the process does it say that they actually have to do what you want them to do. So even when people treat us in negative ways, we shouldn't be entitled to whatever decision they choose to make, because they have the right to choose what they want to do. When friends or family decide to move a certain way and we see how they're moving, you can let them know how that makes you feel, but you can't control what they decide to do. We can only control what we do. But do we sit there and try to convince people to treat us a certain type of way? Or do we feel entitled? So we feel like we need to do things a certain way to have people give us the type of treatment and things that we want from them. Do we do these types of things? Well, if I do it this way, maybe he'll do it. Why we feel entitled to special treatment from them, even though they themselves have the choice to choose what they want to do. We just had a choice to choose, are we going to deal with it? So we're going to look at an example of one that was not entitled to the choice of another person who just let stuff be what it was. We're going to look at Genesis chapter 13, verse 1, which reads, "And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south." Verse 3. No, verse 5. "And Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents." You see this. Verse 6. "And the land which was not able to bear them, and the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together. For their substance was great." They had a whole lot of stuff, so that they could not dwell together. "And there was a strife between the herdmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle, and the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelt then in the land. And Abram said to Lot, Let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between thy herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren." Automatically, Abram seeking to work this out. Abram seeking to work this thing out. Matthew, we're going to go back to this. Yeah. Now, this wasn't a thing to where anything crazy was happening, but there was a matter between these two. There was a matter between these two. Abraham was seeking to work it out. So the same thing is, Let's look at this. They had this strife. Abram didn't want that strife. So Abram brought this between him and Lot. So it isn't like, anything happened with Lot and Abram. It was just it was no room. And then the herdman was sitting there fighting. But Abram, he what? All right. He brought that to Lot. That's all we looking at. He brought that between him and Lot, right? Now the same thing is he brought this between him and Lot. So he was seeking to get rid of all the strife that was going on, right? He says, "Is not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me." Now look at what happens. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. See, with this strife and this problem that was happening, Abram didn't want no strife or conflict. He spoke on the issue and provided a solution. He wasn't concerned about anything. Abram was showing he didn't feel entitled to all the land either. See, people with entitlement issues, they're gonna want to see if they can get if they what? They gonna I deserve all this land. Craziness. Or they'll believe that the other person needs to move around them in a certain type of way. Abram wasn't concerned about that. He was concerned about getting rid of this problem, getting rid of this issue that was present. So this is what the focus was getting everything straightened out. Not, oh, well, you should be doing this or you should be doing. He didn't feel entitled to none of that. He gave Lot the option and then was willing to accept whatever the outcome was from that. Because all Abram was concerned about was doing what he had to do. He wasn't concerned about, oh, I want this. He didn't do none of that. So same thing here. We should not be automatically thinking we deserve any type of special treatment. We shouldn't be trying to force a decision on somebody else or feeling entitled to something specific. It shouldn't be no force there. He didn't force anything. He said, "Hey, whatever you want to do, I'll do the opposite of that. If you want to go to the left, I'll go to the right. If you want to go to the right, I'm gonna go to the left. What do you want to do?" He gave him the choice to choose. He didn't try to force anything. He came peacefully towards Lot and had everything sorted out in this reasonable way. He wasn't fighting. He wasn't bickering. The Herman was fighting. He wasn't fighting and bickering with Lot though. So when we look at these things and we look at this teaching as a whole with entitled people, we see the mindset of entitled people. We see the mindset of an entitled person. We see how all this stuff is going down. And we see how these things are working. We can't force people to give us things. We shouldn't feel like people owe us things. We shouldn't try to control people. We shouldn't feel like we deserve things from others just based on who we are and what we do. It's silly. These are things that make absolutely no sense for us to do. So we're going to look at these last 2 points of the teaching because we get so entitled. We believe we deserve to get into the kingdom based on who we are. See, you got these idiot camps. And the reason I say idiot camps is because they can be clearly shown what's going on and they still choose to hold on to a lie. So, and they push that lie and they teach that lie and they deceive many. So that makes them idiots who do that. Instead of turning the truth, they want to hold to something. They believe that just because they black, they get into the kingdom. They believe that just because they black, they're going to get into the kingdom. And Christians is no different. They're all the same. Christians believe that just because of something they holding to, oh, I believe this, I'm good. Stupidity. Based on what you think you're doing and based on who you think you are, you think you're going to get to somewhere? No. 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 Let's look at John 8:33. What? Look at this. A and B, they answered him, we be Abraham's seed. This is where we come from. This is that entitled mindset, believing that they can get into the kingdom based on who they are. Camps had his mindset hardcore, believing that just because they black, they gonna go to heaven. That's the biggest lie out there. The white man has done this to me. The white man has done this to me. Look at what it is. We need reparations. We need that. Stupidity. Stupidity. That's how they sound to me when they talk. That's why I made all them noises. It's stupidity. They want to push this racism. They want to push all this stuff that it don't make no sense. Just because you black, you think you better than somebody? Just because you black, you feel entitled? You feel entitled for certain treatment? You feel entitled for money? You feel entitled to people to move or you see how all that came together. You feel entitled for people to be treating you and moving around you in a certain way just because you're black? Are you serious? But the craziest part about it is we do the same thing here at KJBU University. People come here, I'm in the truth now. Y'all need to now they're gonna try to sit here and act like they know everything. They act like they got the most knowledge. They act like they know more than the pastor. We do this stuff. Being stupid. We come and we're given the knowledge of the truth all of a sudden. So don't worry about them camp boys. Look at what we be doing. We all of a sudden get some truth. We all of a sudden believe we can be judgmental towards people. We all of a sudden feel like we're better than people. We all of a sudden feel like people should be treating us a certain way. We all of a sudden feel like we know more than everybody else just because we learned something here at King James Bible University. What makes us different than what the camps be doing? Okay, they basing it off of physical things and skin color. We basing it off of knowledge. No matter what, we think that just because of what we got, who we are, what we know, we're entitled to all these things now. We sit here, we think just because we show up to the teachings, we're entitled to get into the kingdom without what? Studying to show ourselves approved, without actually putting in labor our own self, being out in this field teaching, without actually showing up and doing the things that we have to do. We feel entitled automatically because of who we think we are. We believe that the pastor should treat us a certain way because who we think we are. We deserve special treatment because of who we think we are. This is how we think. You can't get around this stuff because that's a camp mindset. That's a Christian mindset. This is what camps and Christians do, but do we still act like that? And do we act this way towards God? Do we believe that we gonna get in there just because we do this and just because we do that? Are we so entitled that we believe God should let us into his kingdom? It's crazy. Matthew 3 and 8, 2:10. Bring forth for that reason fruits, works, meet for repentance, for remembrance. God, we're changing what we doing to be in alignment with Jehovah. And think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father. I'm gonna pause right there. Go to verse 10. And now also is the axe laid to the root of the trees. Therefore, every tree, every elder bringing not forth good fruit, good works is hewn down and cast into the fire. We gotta be doing something. We gotta be making sure we doing things in alignment with the Most High. And just because you're doing that don't mean you're better than somebody still. Because no matter what, it's crazy what we be doing, man. Galatians 6 and 3. For if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. That you can't act better than nobody. Guess what? bring myself up again. Boy, I sat, boy, I thought, boy, I thought I sat there and I thought I was better than my family, man. When I first came into this knowledge, I thought I was better than them. I thought I was better than my mama. I thought I was better than my sister, and I thought I was better than Tree when I first came into the knowledge because oh, I know this now, y'all. Stupidity, such an idiot. Not knowing what the heck I was sitting there doing, not knowing I was being a straight up plumb fool. But this is what we do. Oh well, y'all doing this and da. Guys, don't eat pork. Guys, don't eat shrimp. Guys, no. Trying to force people to do some things. Trying to force people to do the things that I feel entitled to how they moving. I feel like they deserve I deserve for them to listen to me. I'm entitled to their approval on what I'm doing. I'm entitled to their change. And I do not have a right to be understood. But yet I feel entitled to them changing and just listening to me based on who I think I am. I deserve this special privileges. Y'all need to drop everything y'all doing and listen to what I'm saying because this is what it is. Dang, how this work. If you get truth, it's for you to learn and understand and then move forward in that truth. Not think you something now. So now people gotta listen to you. So now you have this entitlement mindset now that people should be doing this and people should be doing that based on who you think you are and what you're doing. You can't force nobody to do nothing. You have to let them choose for themselves what they want to do. But hope for the best for them. That they recognize what's happening and that they choose it for themselves. That don't mean all of a sudden we gonna walk into this kingdom now because we know this now. We have to endure until the end and we have to hold to the ways of JEHOVAH. So that means there's work that gotta be done. But then you got these idiot camps thinking that just because they black, they getting into the kingdom. You could know you from a certain lineage. That don't mean you getting in there. They think an idol god is gonna pull up in a dang UFO spaceship and take them somewhere. That's the most idiotic thing you can ever think in your mind. Christians think a dang man is gonna come floating through the sky, and they gonna floating through the sky, and flesh gonna go into the kingdom. What the hell are you talking about? Believing that carnal worship and doing everything literally makes them entitled to the kingdom. Even to believe that based on whatever work that we think we doing, it makes us entitled to get to it. Christians and camps alike believing that they're doing good works when in fact there's not one good work that they've done being joined unto the institutions of confusion. But if we sit there leaning to our own understanding, what good are we doing? Let's look. Matthew 7:21-23. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. We got to be doing what JEHOVAH is leading us to do on what is right, according to the word, not according to what we doing. Many will say unto me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils. And in thy name done many wonderful oaths. Lord, look at what I'm doing, Lord. Lord, look what I'm doing, Lord. Lord, look what I'm doing. Look at me, look what I've done. Look at what the things I've accomplished. Look at what it is I've done for you. I should be here. I should have my spot. Entitlement based on what you think you're doing. You think you entitled to the kingdom based on what you're doing. A mindset where we elevating ourselves to think people should give us special treatment based on how we see ourselves. And I will profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. But look at this. Ephesians 2:8. For by grace are ye saved through faith. And not that of yourselves. It is the gift of God. But look. But James 2:20. But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead. So don't just say, oh yeah, I'm saved by grace. You got to be doing these things through faith. So what you believe It's going to be backed on what you truly believe. What you truly believe, you always going to be moving in that direction based on what you truly believe. But the things that are produced through that, through our obedience to Jehovah, we have to have faith. Because if we say we believe and then we have faith and we ain't doing nothing, you still wrong. But our faith has to be in the Most High to do well, to do good, to do what's right in His sight. So when we find out what it is that we're doing through faith, we need to believe that that change can happen in us. And then that work will be there. We turn from the evil way that we was doing. But if you say you believe, but there ain't no changes happening, okay, that's faith without works. That's a doorknob. But remember, for by grace are you saved through faith. Because we have to learn the right way to live. We have to learn the ways to get right with the Most High through His word, precept upon precept. It's not of ourselves. So how are we going to come here and be like, look what I did, look what I did, look what I did? It's the gift of God. Verse 9, not of works, lest any man should boast. And we're going to come to here saying, Lord, Lord, haven't I done this, Lord? We can't do this. We have to patiently put in the work and obey the voice of God. Exodus 19:5. Now, therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed, which we have to do this by faith, because we are obeying a voice, and keep my covenant, then shall ye be a peculiar treasure unto me above. Then shall ye be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. For all the earth is mine. Not based on the works you think you're doing, not based on what you think is right, not based on what you think you're doing or who you think you are. It's based on, are you obeying His voice or not? Through faith. So these things, we see this. It begs us the question, as we arrive to the last point. Why is earth and ashes proud? Sirach 10:9a. Well, we're going to read this part too. There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man. Why? Because we believe we deserve certain treatment. We deserve, we're owed something. We believe we deserve these things. So now we're going to covet this. We're going to lust after these things. Praises, money, and attention. Treatment from others the way that we want them to do it. We covet that. So where does this mindset come from? It's the last point of the teaching. Genesis 3:7. Right here. C and D. Genesis 3:7, C and D. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. This issue comes from the image that we like to put together for ourselves based on how we think and perceive things rather than how Jehovah sees things. We believe we deserve special treatment and praises and awards, all based on who we think we are, based on the image we made up in our heads about ourselves, based on the image we like to put out there to people, based on the understandings that we hold on to that make us look good. We want to think a certain way to make us look good rather than the reality of what's happening within us. We cannot believe that we deserve special treatment based on who we are or what we think we do. And we cannot expect to receive things even though we didn't even work. Even though we not doing what we supposed to be doing. We can't expect to receive things if we doing all this other stuff. But we shouldn't expect to be receiving anything. We're not owed nothing. So we can't be entitled to people's money. We can't be entitled to people's time. We can't be entitled to people's stuff. And we can't sit there and try to go to the Most High and think we entitled to get into the kingdom. Because we got to stand before that judgment seat at the end. And what it is that we did, we going to be looked at on what we were doing. So we have to remove this false covering of ourselves. We can't have our eyelids lifted up. We have to remove this false covering of ourselves from our minds and recognize that we're not owed anything. 2 Corinthians 13:5. We're going to read down to here. Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. We have to prove ourselves. What are we doing? What is our true intent and motivation behind what we got going on? Are we moving around with this lifted up mindset that we deserve these things? Or are we simply working from the heart in all sincerity towards the Most High, seeking to just do what's good? When these thoughts come up in our mind, when these desires come up in our mind, we have to kill that off. It ain't like it's gonna not try to show up, but when it show up, what will you choose? What will you choose? Mark 9:47. And if thine understanding offend thee, pluck it out. Rip that joker out. For it is better for thee to enter into the kingdom of God with one understanding than having two understandings and be cast into hellfire. So we can't have that envious understanding, that covetous eye, thinking that we are owed something. Can't do it. So if we have these thoughts, if this understanding is there, if these things are coming to our minds, we got to pluck that bad boy out. Toss that mug in the garbage. Shoot it in the garbage like your prime Kobe Bryant. It's what we got to do. This is clearly what we have to do. This is the last verse of the teaching. Second Esdras 14:34. For that reason, if so be that you will subdue your own understanding and reform your hearts, ye shall be kept alive, and after death ye shall obtain mercy. So these things are clear. Our own understandings can put us in a bad direction if we hold on to an understanding of ourselves that just ain't there. If we believe that we're entitled to things, if we're going to be these entitled people. So my brothers and sisters, we have to consider what it is that we're doing. We have to consider the ways that we're looking at things. We have to consider the things that we have going on within ourselves. Are we entitled people? Do we feel like we deserve things from others? Do that we just don't deserve, that we didn't earn, that we didn't even work for? But do we feel entitled in general to where we think that people need to give us stuff? Because nobody's forced to give us anything, which is the whole entire point. Nobody is forced to give us anything, and it's not for us to think that we deserve anything. All we have to do is do what we're supposed to be doing, let things play out for what it is, and then we'll see what's actually going on around us. But if we don't look within ourselves and see, do we have this type of mindset, then that type of mindset is just going to be sitting there. So I hope somebody was richly edified by this lesson and gained some understanding on a mindset that we need to put away, because this mindset is here in this body. We've seen it and we keep hearing about it. And this is some certain things that I was doing. So I hope from the experiences on how I was messing up and what I learned from it, that might help somebody else to see and be able to overcome these things. So this has been Deacon Kahleial with the King James Bible University. I appreciate each and every last one of you for coming out. And I would like to say, each and every last one of y'all, take care and shalom.